you. Familiar faces. Hi, Lindsay. How are you? Renee, I didn't know you were going to be on this call, and I'm so excited I get to see you in person next month. And I love that Jim is back there. It looks like he's flipping pancakes or something. I'll be right over. So it's so great to see y'all and see your faces. And I was thinking about what I would share with you. And I think what I've learned a lot lately is the importance of sparking joy in your life, because I've definitely learned a lot about grit and grace through, my motorcycle accident and 34 surgeries to save my leg from amputation, and then diagnosed with this nerve disease called complex regional pain syndrome that leaves me in constant chronic pain. In fact, it's ranked highest on the pain scale. And I actually just spoke at the annual event it's the biggest foundation for CRPS, for people who've been diagnosed with CRPS. And I got to meet people in person that I had never met yet, that we've only met on social media. And when I was speaking, I asked the room, I said, can you raise your hand if you have been diagnosed with CRPS? And 90% of the room raise their hand. And it was one moment. It's kind of like this group, like we're so much alike and we have so much in common. It was great to be in a room with other people who got it, who understood what it's like. But at the same time, you could feel the pain in the room. And I was like, wow, we're all a little bit different, but I was like, I have CRPS, or I was diagnosed with CRPS like this person. And how is it that I can find joy and I can find the grit, and I want to give it to them, and I want to give them these tools. And it was so apparent more than ever, more than any talk I've ever given, than this weekend, to be in a room and just, you could feel the pain. And so, although I hope and pray none of y'all have been diagnosed with CRPS, but I don't know about you, but being an entrepreneur can be pretty painful at moments. I mean, honestly, I think just technology, you know how slow I was getting on here, just because Kathy had to say, click the plus button, Amberly. So I want to share just a few tips and tools about grit to get through hard times. But more importantly, I think it's, the grit that gets you going and the resilience that gets you back up. But I really feel like it's the joy that is the spark that keeps the momentum going and makes it sustainable and makes life more fun. And so I want to I want y'all to feel free to interrupt me, ask any questions. And I want to make sure I leave. Do we have an hour together? Do I have an hour with y'all?
We do.
I get to
Yeah.
hang out with y'all an hour? Oh, good, good. Okay, well then, you know what I want to share is, first of all, a little bit about how I learned about grit, because, I grew up here in Texas, and, I was an athlete. Then I moved to Los Angeles. I was a professional dancer. And we always had this motto, when you've got grit, there is no quit. Resting meant quitting. Cowgirl up, suck it up. And also hide your crazy and be a lady. Just keep going, And it was like I lived by those mottos. And after having the successful career in the dance industry and then the fitness industry for 26 years, I found myself in a place where trying to grit it out after surgery after surgery. And I mean, I would have a surgery, then a day of recovery, then a surgery, then a day of recovery. And this went on for years. I mean, sometimes the surgeries were spaced like 6 months apart, but it went on for years. And I was in and out of a wheelchair, up and down, off in a walker, using crutches, walking back in the bed. And so I thought, I'm just going to grit it out. And what I realized is I had a lot of misconceptions about grit. Angela Duckworth, she wrote this book called Grit. I wish I would have read her book before I wrote my book, True Grit and Grace. That probably would have helped me a lot. But she wrote a book called Grit, and she says that grit is the key predictor in success. It's not how good looking you are, it's not how much money you have, it's not how talented you are. It doesn't matter. It's how hard you are willing to work for long periods of time. So I was like, man, I got a PhD in grit. I got this. I am just going to work harder. I'm going to prove those doctors wrong. I'm not going to be in a wheelchair. I mean, nothing against wheelchairs. My little brother's been in a wheelchair his whole life, but I was like, that's just not the life for me. I'm going to show them that I can walk and I can work. I am not going to be disabled on disability and not be able to work and go after my passions. I want to work. And I was gritting it out and gritting it out. And I was stuffing down the pain. I did not want to ask for help. I didn't want people to know I was pain. And I don't know about y'all, but is it hard for you sometimes as an entrepreneur? I mean, to ask for help? I don't know. It was hard for me. I didn't want to look vulnerable. I thought it made me, look weak. I didn't want anybody to know that I guess maybe I wasn't capable. And so I just kept stuffing it down. And I was trying to do everything to keep pushing through and keep gritting it out. And I was trying all these radical treatments. I mean, ketamine infusions. And I don't know if y'all know what ketamine is, but it's basically a horse tranquilizer. I had never done a drug in my life. And now all of a sudden they are infusing me with ketamine to try to reboot my nervous system. Spinal stimulator, where I had my second stimulator, Kathy. That's when I had the last surgery when I was supposed to talk y'all. I was having that done, that procedure done. And Eastern Western medicine. At one time, I was on 73 homeopathic pills and 11 prescription medications, and nothing was working. And then I discovered wine, and I was like, dang, why didn't they just tell me to knock back a glass of wine? That kind of does the trick. It helps me numb out the pain, stuff down the shame. And that worked until it didn't. And slowly but surely, I developed a problem, a big problem, and I had to get radically honest with myself. And so I think the first step to any transformation in your business, in your relationship, no matter what you're doing, it starts with one thing. It starts with getting radically honest with yourself and taking a good hard look at who you are, where you are on your journey, so you can take the right action steps to move forward. And I think that sounds easy. It was hard for me to admit that I had a problem with drinking. I mean, I went from being an elite athlete to now I've got a problem. And I was married. I mean, I'm still married. He's retired now, though, to a cop. And let me tell you, it took some skill to hide your drinking from a lieutenant commander. um, but I realized in that moment that I had a problem. I had to ask for help. And that was the scariest thing I think that I ever did. That was scarier than any surgery that I went through, was admitting that I needed help and actually asking for help. And I realized in that moment that it wasn't just about grit, that grit without connection is resistance, and grit with connection, that is truly resilience. And so that's why I think Kathy, you and Scott, y'all are amazing. I'm like amazed at what you can do, and the community that you bring together so that we know we don't have to do it alone. And I don't ever want to do it alone again. I mean, whether it's something I'm struggling with, through work, or through my relationship, or my sobriety. Like, I need community. I've realized that connection is key to resilience and to spark more joy. And so I'll walk you through one thing really quick. So hopefully this will help you if you're ever struggling. I'll give you a couple of things because I need something quick. I like acronyms because I need something to remind me. In fact, I'm sitting here at my desk right now and I say I love acronyms. I have frogs. Like I have this little frog. I have another little frog that somebody gave me. There's a whole story behind that. But to me, frog reminds me fully rely on God, because I can get in my own way and just feel like I have to rely on myself and do it all on my own. And I'm like, no, I'm not alone. Like I need to rely on God. And so that acronym is my favorite probably. But I came up with something to help you really tap into your resilience, and it's called PACER. And it stands for perspective, acceptance, community, endurance, and rest. And now I have to rely on these things and tap into these things if ever, you're tired or you're anxious or you're starting to feel like you're on the brink of burnout or you're worried about something or you're sad. I want you to tap into these things, because I know that when I'm feeling any of these things, that I'm lacking one of these things in my life. So perspective, I will tell you the quickest and easiest way to shift your perspective is with gratitude. I mean, gratitude is alchemy. It changes what you can't do into what you can do, and what you don't have into what you do have. And this morning, I'm I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like to admit this. I think I pushed snooze like 5 times. I know that's terrible. I did. I kept pushing snooze. And finally, I was like, Amber, I had to have a little talk. I've learned to talk to myself instead of listen to myself. Because if I listen to myself will be saying, you know what? Just go back to bed. And I'm like, I have to talk to myself. Amberly, get out of bed. Amber, what are you doing? You got work to do. But I thought in that moment, I need to shift the way that I'm feeling into, I get to get out of bed today. I am not stuck in this bed. I get to go work today. I get to talk to these other outliers today. I get to go to the gym. Like I get to walk. I mean, the moment I get grateful, everything changes. And so I practice gratitude. I have a gratitude God squad. We share our gratitude practice. Y'all were on the list today. And so I use gratitude the first thing when I wake up. Because I can quickly, people think I'm so positive. No, I actually have to work at it and practice it. And I say the last thing I do when I get in bed is I say a prayer and say thank you of gratitude. Thank you for today. Thank you for another day. Thank you for allowing me and my health and for my family and another day sober. And so whatever it may be, it shifts your perspective. The A in PACER is acceptance. We talked about that. And so I want you to ask yourself this. This is the quickest and easiest way to get radically honest with yourself, is say, how's that working for you? Is it helping you or is it hurting you? Because everything you're doing is either moving you closer to your goal, it's moving the needle closer or further, it's moving you further away. And that could be anything from your business to maybe your health goals. And so, how is that working for you? And if you get radically honest, it's going to allow you to connect with the right community like you have here, like the outliers here. Like it is so good to see so many of you. Tori, it's good to see you too. And community is powerful. It might be one of the most powerful parts of Pacer. I mean, connection and community. Because, man, yeah, you are strong, you are capable alone, but together we're unstoppable. And so, how can you build your community? How can you add value? Lindsay, you are so great at building community, and you are so awesome at commenting on people's posts on LinkedIn, and I think also, and y'all probably already know this, but one of the best things I've done for my business to build community is actually my podcast. Do y'all feel, how many of you raise your hand if you have a podcast? Yeah. It's a lot of work. Somebody said it takes a lot. It's a lot of work. It takes grit. And I'm like, I can work hard. It does take a lot of work, but it's worth it. And I love that it helps build that community and connection. And the next part of PACER is an E for endurance. Whew, it takes endurance, doesn't it? And it takes a lot of endurance. I think, and as an entrepreneur, if you're not ready, I mean, like ready at least once a week to like throw in the towel, then maybe you're not an entrepreneur. I don't know. No, I'm kidding. But I mean, it does take some endurance. And that's where your passion and your perseverance comes into play. And that's when stop asking yourself how and what am I going to do? Ask yourself why. Why are you doing it? Because that is going to light a fire under you. It's going to allow you to remember why you started. And also, even when I get nervous about speaking or any new interview or anything like that, I start getting out of my head and get in my heart. And I always think about why I'm doing it. I mean, I was so nervous to put my newest book out in the world because I share some really vulnerable things in it. And I was like, but why am I doing it? Like, stop thinking about myself. Like, I'm doing this to help someone else who is going through a similar situation, and I can show them how to get through it. And so that is really going to help you to have that endurance. And then the last part of PACER is rest. I did not want to add this to PACER. I just wanted to call it pace through challenges, but no, PACER, because I learned the hard way over and over and over. And I think Kathy knows because I was like, oh no, I'm having surgery the day before. I'll be fine. No, I've learned I need to rest. Y'all, we got to rest. We got to rejuvenate. We have to take time to, I think in order to be resilient, sometimes you have to strategically stop and plan times in your day to rest and recover. And if your cell phone, if your phone is ever going dead, like you are going to find an outlet somewhere. You're going to find a friend that has a charger. Even if you're at a conference, you're going to go in the hallway and leave your phone in the hallway to recharge because that's how important it is. But Lindsay, do you have a question?
I did, but I don't want you to stop your flow. It was
No, no,
just going to be
no.
when you're ready to pause.
That's PACER. I'm ready to pause before we get into some spark in your joy. So,
So,
yeah.
first of all, I love your new neon sign and congrats on the new book. And
Thank you.
regards to you from Brian Galke, who's coming on my show. We're recording tomorrow. So he's like, Amberly? I said, yeah.
Oh, he's
Anyway,
awesome.
isn't he? So my daughter has to go have her ACL repaired. She totally ruptured it. And she is she's pretty frustrated. She doesn't like being on crutches. And I could easily tell her the Amberly Lago story, but she's 17 and she's going to be like, whatever, mom, you talk to all these people all the time. You're older. I'm a teenager. It's my senior year and I'm pissed. What advice would you give to her about having some grit and having some grace and taking the rest that she needs? Because I think what I've been saying might be falling on deaf ears. So I'd just love some new words.
Well, thank you. And I'm sorry she's having to go through that surgery, but you can tell her she can call me. I'll talk to her because when I was 17, it was right before I was a senior and right before our big dance recital where I had a solo. I was being presented as teacher of the year. It was a big deal. And believe it or not, my friend made a left turn in front of a truck, a dually going 55 miles an hour. And my legs went through the dashboard and I broke my leg. And so I was on crutches at 17 as well as a senior in high school. I can relate.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was I made it like super fun. I put tutus on my crutches because I was a dancer. So I put tutus on my crutches. And so at least I had some style. But I also convinced the doctor this, I won't tell your daughter this. I convinced the doctor to take the cast off early because it was hot in Texas and I wanted to be able to swim. But I mean, I had to switch my mind around being in a wheelchair, being in a scooter, a motorized scooter, and also being on crutches. And when I did that, everything changed. Like I went to Magic Mountain or Six Flags on crutches. Um, I didn't let the crutches stop me from having fun when I was her age.
Yeah.
But when I got older, I didn't want people to see me as like, oh, she's on crutches. What's wrong with her? It doesn't look like anything's wrong with her. Like, isn't she over that motorcycle accident yet? The minute I shifted my perspective on what it was, like I viewed my crutches as, oh, this is going to help me. These are my legs. This is going to help me go faster. And so I actually have the Canadian crutches, the ones that go around your wrist. And I remember having to have the crutches again and being at my daughter's, she's a horseback rider, being at her horseback riding competition. And my first thought was, gosh, I don't want all these moms to see me on crutches, and ask questions. And then I thought, you know what? No, I'm grateful for these because I can get around. I can get around fast. Instead of making it like something was wrong with me, man, I carried my head up high and I was like, look at how fast I am on these crutches. And nobody asked me a question, but I'll tell you what, we had time in between the horse competitions. The kids started racing me on the crutches because I'm fast on those Canadian crutches. So it was all how I looked at it. The minute I looked at it as this can be fun, I can use this, like all the kids were lined up ready to race me, And so the minute you shift your perspective on it and look at it as this is giving me freedom, basically is how I look at it, is this is giving me freedom to move. I could be stuck at home doing nothing, or I can use these suckers and I can go faster.
Oh, that was perfect. Thank you.
But Lindsay, if she wants to call me, because I know how it is, like I can tell my daughter who's 17 something, and she's like, yeah, mom, whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you have my number.
We'll get it. I don't.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I'm glad your surgery is behind you. I hope you're healing.
Thank you. I'm doing so much better.
Good.
Does anybody have any questions? Don't be shy now. I got to see y'all better. I'm going to put my glasses on so I can see y'all better. Karen, Jim, Kim, do you have a question?
I do have a question. First, it's so nice to meet you. I'm so inspired by your story. And I'm moved. And the reason I'm moved is because my sister has CRPS. Hers was caused by a back injury and back surgery. And they say it was actually the surgery that triggered it.
Wow.
So, I mean, as a sister, we have our challenges. I have tried for years to understand what she's going through, but also try to bring that joy. And I'm trying to be the positive person. But it has been very devastating, as you know, for her both physically and mentally. So I bought your book for her today. I'm going to read it this weekend and then share it with her. But I would love to know, like, anything you think, me as her sister and the rest of our family, how can we best support her when she gets in those times when she tries to be positive, but the pain is just too much?
I think that, just knowing that you're there, I think the only thing worse than my pain is knowing that I'm causing my family pain. Like, I don't like them to see that. I'm getting emotional because I can relate. I think just you being there for her, supporting her. I hope my book that does give her some joy or some tips and tools. My first book was mainly a memoir meant to inspire. But I wanted to write Joy Through the Journey because I thought, man, life was getting pretty good, but I still was dealing with this pain and still trying to keep moving and going as an entrepreneur and doing all these things. And where's my joy? Like, how do you continue to spark joy when you're dealing with so much pain? And now, and pain is pain, whether it's small, big, physical, or emotional, whatever it is, pain's pain. And I think her just knowing that you're there and that, you don't have to try to fix it. She doesn't want you to try to fix it. That's the thing I would say. You don't have to offer ways to fix it because let me tell you, she's already tried everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a negative way, but it's like, I have people say, "Oh, have you tried massage?" I'm like, "No, you don't understand CRPS. Like that doesn't work. Try acupuncture. Nope, that could cause it to spread." Like I feel like I spend half my time explaining what CRPS is and the other half trying to pretend like I don't have it. I know that sounds weird, but but I think really her just knowing that you're there, and even if you give her my book and say, "Hey, look, I don't know if this is going to work for you, but maybe it will because it helps Amberly and she's got CRPS." And
Yeah.
that's what I always say. I don't know if this is for you, but maybe it is, because when you say those words, "I don't know if this is for you," it's like, it gives her the choice of, well, I can decide if that's for me. Let me see that. Let me try that. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, thank
And
you.
if she wants to reach out to me, please have her reach out to me. You know what? I'm terrible about looking at the chat and talking at the same time, but I'll put my email in here in case any of y'all want to
I
reach
can put
out.
it in there for you, Amberly. I'll put your email in there for you. And
Oh, I was able to do it, I think. Look
you
there.
did, you did
I'm-
it.
That's pretty amazing.
And there are people with their hand up, and so I don't know if you can see that either, but
Yeah. Karen looks like Karen's first. I like that it has the number on there.
I know, isn't that nice? That seems like a new feature. Hi, Amberly.
Hi.
I wanted to thank you so much and just extend all the things that others have said about just your book, the amazing, what I'm amazed at is just the incredible joy that you have. I mean, it's exactly what you're
Oh.
teaching and you model it. And so I really wanted to say thank you. And I feel a lot of emotion because my husband just got a kidney transplant, which is very exciting. And he had a stroke before that. He's only 40 something. And then to just be on the other side of the caretaking. So I really appreciate, I don't necessarily have a question. Some others have asked similar just things that I would ask. And I mostly wanted to say, I am such a fan and thank you for doing what you're doing.
Oh,
Very
Karen.
inspiring. And it touches very deeply to me personally.
Oh, thank you, Karen. And oh my goodness, my heart goes out to you, the caretaker.
Thank you.
I'm sure you and my husband would have a lot of stories to swap. He has really put up with a lot with me. I mean,
It's tough.
he keeps telling me that God keeps spitting me back out. He's like, "You just won't die." That's what he tells me.
I love
But
it.
my
Thank
heart goes
you.
out to you and your husband. What a miracle that he was able to have a kidney transplant. That's amazing.
Oh, it's absolutely amazing. And
Yeah.
like you, he has an incredible attitude. And I really connected with even just what you had shared a minute ago about just not wanting to feel a burden. I know that's a challenge. And then of course, as the person that lives with him, I'm like, but it's that reality of, well, at some point, it's the truth. And at the same time, it's like, well, we're all a burden. We all carry the different burdens that we have. And I know I'm high maintenance. He's got his own thing on the other side. So thank you again for sharing your story and for being here today.
Thank you, Karen. Hi, Kate.
Hi,
How
Amberly.
are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. I'm glad to see you.
Oh, likewise. I first of all, I love the blue. You're so just like glowy and joyful, and it's just really your story is incredibly inspiring. And I do have a question, but it's rooted very personally. I've dealt with a lot of chronic medical conditions since I was 15, and have spent. I really have never talked about it, to be honest. And have have spent a really large portion of my life um, almost feeling as though you're living like a fake life, like for show. Um,
Mhm.
Even with people that love me very much, and I think that burden and all of those feelings. And I'm sorry I'm getting so emotional, but your story is just so incredibly inspiring. And then listening to other people asking questions about being caretakers and what they can do for people. I know my family growing up very much had those same feelings. And as a result, I've learned to just very much just deal with it on my own. And so
Mhm.
my question for you, there is a question, I promise, is how did you get the courage to really tell people your story and really expose that part of you when so much is trying to be strong for other people and have this sort of perspective and perception of that like you can handle anything.
Kate, thank you so much. It says so much about this community that we can share like this.
Yeah.
I always say, like, for a long time, I didn't cry. And when I did start to cry, I would go in the swimming pool. So I was like, nobody can see my tears in the swimming pool. I know that's silly. I don't think I've ever told anybody that except for y'all. But it says a lot about this community that we feel safe, that we can share. So, first of all, congratulations right now for even bringing this up right
I'm
now.
very grateful for this community.
I mean, that's huge, and that's how I started actually, was, I guess I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired is what it was, and I think there's a gift in desperation, and, I had gotten to the point where I could not stuff it down anymore, and I was in a place where I was like, "You know what? My husband can find another wife, my kids can find another mom." It was that dark of a place. And then I'll tell you exactly what happened. I got on my knees and I prayed and I was like, I need help. And it took every ounce of courage that I had. And I think just praying gave me that courage, every ounce of courage I had to reach out. And I called a client and I had so much shame because I was calling because, yes, I had pain and stuff, but I was using alcohol to kind of numb it out. And I called her to say, I think I got a problem. I need help. And a week, she goes, you know what? I'm going to help you. I'm going to take you like to a meeting. And a week went by, I didn't hear from her. And I'm not saying that to say that anything bad about her. I'm saying this, that we have to be willing to help ourselves no matter what. And so until we find the right people to help us, like y'all have here, like we have here in this group, um, I Googled at that point a meeting I could go to, and I found a support group. Well, my support group was a 12-step program. And I started sharing my story in a safe place. So, Kate, like you have a safe place here to start talking about it. And I'm sure everybody here is like, Kate, we love you. Like, Kate, look in the chat. We love you, Kate. We love you, Kate. We love you, Kate. I mean, you're in a safe place to start sharing. You don't have to live that double life with us because it's exhausting when your outsides don't match your insides. And when you can just be authentically you, you can be in flow. And you know what? Also, when I completely accepted my scars, because I'm completely scarred on my right side from the right leg down. I mean, people look, and I used to care. I don't care anymore. When I could accept my scars and look at them as strength instead of flaws, when I could accept that I'm, recovering from alcoholism, when I accepted that, yeah, I've got CRPS, but these are the cards I've been dealt, but I'm going to play the heck out of these cards. It's freedom. The truth will set you free. It's true, that saying, the truth will set you free. It might kick your butt a little bit at first, but it will set you free. And then, you know what? It's like my husband, I'll tell you, my husband's joked around and said stuff like, oh man, if people only knew. I'm like, honey, they do. I wrote about it in the book. Like there's nothing you can say that I haven't written about or talked about. You know what I mean? And so I think you're in the right place to start. Anybody who's going through a struggle and you're like, man, I'm kind of embarrassed to talk about this thing in my business, or that this isn't working in my business, or that I have, I just recently had a client share with me that she was really having some, and I had no idea, but some financial troubles. And I said, well, I'm glad you told me. Now let's fix it. If you don't know what's not working, how can you fix it? So I think you did the hardest part, Kate. So that's why I said, congratulations. You did the hardest part. You said something. Now you're going to have an army of support around you who love on you. And again, you can reach out to me anytime. But yeah, and so I hope that helps you.
Yes.
You're in the right place.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And I don't know if we'll even get around to the spark your joy. So I'm going to make sure I find that to give to you, and I will somehow figure that out and put it in the chat. I'll go. Can I tell y'all what it is really quick? Oh, wait, we have a question. Jim, thank you for being so patient.
By all means, please, love it if you would share that with us. My question can wait a few minutes.
Oh, no. You go right ahead. While you're asking, I'm going to look for the link that I have so I can share it with y'all.
All right, you got it. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody on this call, for being who you are. You amaze me. This entire call so far, I feel like in under an hour, it's been a masterclass in, for me, reconnecting. And when I say, I mean reconnecting to the core foundational things that, again, just for me, keeps the train on the tracks.
Mm.
And I'm going to formulate this into a question, I promise. I'm kind of struck by now how, like, those core foundational things, I've been going through a lot of like stressful things lately, but gratitude and really reconnecting me with just practicing gratitude, because I know for me, at least, sometimes it needs to be practiced. It needs to be exercised like any other muscle. And I walk outside despite what has been stressing me out lately, and the sun is shining. The leaves are turning. It's like, how freaking blessed am I right now?
Yeah.
And so anyways, so much of what you have shared has hit me so deeply. And to just, I guess, to zero in on just one of those things, grit and grace. And I'm learning so much constantly about kind of balancing the two, or sometimes they feel like at opposite ends of each other. And I know that's not where I need them to be in my life. Sometimes I feel like I'll have this, what feels like an avalanche of stressful things that I have to push through. And then that grit mindset, while most of the time is a good, healthy, motivating thing, sometimes that becomes the biggest resistance, if that makes any sense.
Mhm.
Because it prevents me from attacking these things, these obstacles, in a realistic, healthy way. Like, take one small step at a time, instead of feeling like, I'm the best I'm as good as any entrepreneur. I'm as good as any husband. I'm as good as any father. So, and the others before me have taken on more all at once. And if they can do it, I can do it. And then the train starts to come off the tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess then my question is, are there points in your experiences, in your journey so far, where you realize, okay, here's the threshold, and here is where the grit is, it's maybe working against me, and maybe that means hitting the reset button, or turning up the grace knob. um I hope I
I,
articulated that.
yeah, Jim, you are speaking my language. And by the way, I love seeing the trees in the background. I love the leaves turning were gorgeous. And you know what? You walking outside. So I have a new little pup. If you've seen any of my social media and my stories, Nugget keeps me busy. And Nugget has been awesome for getting me outside and just getting some sunshine. And I just interviewed Aged Like a Girl. This book comes out in December, and she talks about like getting out when the sun comes up, getting out midday, and getting out at sunset. And so I've been
Mm.
striving to do that every day. And having a pup really helps with that. But yes, I was always really good at the grit and not so good at giving myself grace. I can be real hard on myself. And when I wrote my first book, I wrote the whole book. First of all, I hand wrote 90% of the book because I didn't even own a computer at the time. And I had everybody telling me there's no way you can write a book. You don't have a college education. You don't even own a computer. You're that fitness girl. And I was like, oh, thank you for the motivation. Then I'm definitely going to write that book. And I wrote it, and I didn't know what I was going to call it. And somebody had seen an x-ray of my leg, and she goes, girl, you've got true grit and grace. And I said, thank you. Can I use that for the title of my book? Because the book is about gritting it out, but then getting to a point where when do you give yourself grace? And so I have been trying, instead of sharing Spark with you because of Jim's question, I have another acronym I'm going to share with y'all, and I'll put the Spark in the chat, I promise. But Jim, what I've had to learn to do, because instead of, I was constantly in fight or flight, constantly gritting it out. And I was like, I was talking to my husband, and I said, I think I discovered an easier way. It's called flow. He goes, what is that woo-woo kind of stuff? I'm like, no, listen to me. So flow, instead of constantly being in that, I got to grit it out. I got to work harder. I got to do more. I got to be more. I got to post one more time on LinkedIn. It's like, how can I be in flow? And flow stands for frequency, which you're doing right now by walking outside, getting some sun. Frequency, I'm not talking about how many times you do push-ups or reps at the gym. I'm talking about like your energy frequency meaning like Tony Robbins says, energy is everything and everything is energy. And that is so true. And so what are ways you can raise your frequency? Getting outside, getting sun, music, moving your body moves your mood, but it's also the people that you surround yourself with. That's why aren't we lucky we get to have each other? Because you can feel somebody's energy through the screen. It doesn't even have to be there in person with them. You can feel that energy through the screen. And so what can you do to raise your frequency, to get your energy levels up? Everything that you eat, everything that you consume, and meaning everything, not just that you eat, but you listen to, you watch on TV, everything. What's going to raise your frequency? L is love. Instead of feeling like you got to grit it out, how can you do more things with love? Because I was speaking at this big conference, and it was all these billionaires, and then there was me. And so there was this one billionaire on stage, and he's like, I'm going to give you the best business advice ever. And I was sitting there with my pad and pen ready to take notes. And he said, It's love. And I was like, oh, okay. And he goes, no, if you love yourself, well, I think if you love yourself, you are a walking permission slip for others around you to love themselves.
Fine.
And so be a walking permission slip for your kids, for your team, for your family, to give yourself love, but also to love yourself enough to rest, that you don't have to drive yourself into the ground or to the brink of burnout, but love your people. And I mean, I love my people. So I have a new videographer that I just brought on, and I'm grateful for him and I'm loving on him. And he's like, Amberly, you are the kindest person I've ever worked with. And I said, well, I appreciate you. You know, when you appreciate each other and you love each other, that's what makes a good team. The O in flow is optimism, and really being optimistic and flipping the script when you get that negative thought. Talk to yourself instead of listening to yourself in times when that self doubt creeps up. Everything that you're listening to, like I have my favorite podcasts that I listen to. I love, one of my good friends is John Gordon. I love him. I love his show. I love Ed Milet's show. Like, what are you, and you know what? Sometimes don't listen to anything. Go outside and don't listen to music. Don't listen to a podcast. When you have stillness or quietness is when you spark creativity. And then lastly, the W in flow is wonder. How can you do more things with wonder and curiosity? And, you know, instead of, man, what's the worst that can happen? What is the best thing that could happen? What if it goes right? I mean, I feel like there are just endless possibilities. There is so much abundance. I really believe that. And I feel like so often, especially now with what's going on in the world, people get scared, which I understand. I just look, I'm just grateful for today. And I'm like, you know what? I believe that we get exactly what is meant to come for us, and everything will come to us. There's enough for everyone. So I hope that whenever you're in that mode of, I got to grit it out, how can you get into flow? And did that help a little bit, Jim? Because I understand gritting it out.
It helped a little bit is a huge understatement. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I, even when you were talking about the stillness, that hit me so big right away because in my little walk, I'm at this, and I look at what's growing from the water. It's literally growth in the stillness, and so there's a lot of things that are hitting me right now. So I am so grateful for you. I got to be on this call today. I'm grateful for that, and just thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I'm grateful for you. Thank you for taking the time to share and for your kind words. And I also put that Spark More Joy. It's a workbook. I like to call it playbook because I like to play a lot more than I like to work. I like to play. So I always like to call things playbook, but it's called workbook. But it will give you the SPARK acronym and what it means. So hopefully you can, use that when you're at a time when you're like, man, I want to spark more joy. And I encourage you to do one thing. So Jim, while you're out on your walk, or in all of you, if you go out on a walk or you're in your house or you go to the grocery store, is I encourage you to do some joy spotting. So, in other words, look for joy. I mean, joy comes from deep within us, yes, but we also have light within us. Sometimes that light becomes barely a flicker, and we have to find things to really make it burn brighter. I feel like the same for joy. Like we need to do things to spark that joy. And so, if I can offer one thing about joy today, is really be intentional about looking for joy. And I did this, I'm telling you, it works because I did this. I lost my puppy. Well, I say puppy, she was 2.5 pounds, but I had her for 14 years. She was my little therapy dog. She went through every surgery with me, and she died unexpectedly. And I'm telling you, it was probably the heart. I didn't know you could grieve so much. I couldn't stop crying. And I thought, I just need a little reprieve. I just need to stop crying. Can I get a little more joy? And I thought, I have got to go and look for joy. So I went to Home Goods. I don't know if y'all go to Home Goods, but I went to Home Goods and I was like, I needed a change of environment. Sometimes you just got to change your environment. You got to move your body because it moves your mood. I walk into Home Goods because I was going there because, yeah, I wanted to see some stuff, but I wanted to connect with people. I wanted to smile at people and see them smile back. I wanted to be able just to hear their voice. We're not meant to do hard things alone. And I walk in the store, the first thing that I see, a sign that says joy. I'm not even kidding you. And so I'm telling you, I encourage you, go out there, be a joy sparker, spark joy in other people's lives, smile, ask people how they're doing, and make sure you do some joy spotting. And again, y'all, please reach out to me. I put my email in there. I hope you enjoy that workbook, but if you need anything, if there's anything I can do to support you, please reach out and let me know.
I'm afraid to open my mouth because I just want to sob so many tears out of gratitude for you. I can't do it.
Oh, Kathy, I love you. Thank you.
Thank you
all
so
of you.
much for everything.
Thank you. I love our community.
Yeah, that you can, and yeah, I've never been actually speechless before. But Kate, like, that's what we're here for. Jim Perona, Amberly, he is an incredible person going through recent diagnosis with MS, but he's doing speaking all over, and Karen with her, just the people in this community just overwhelm me.